Hello and welcome to Team DSI's Advanced Leadership webinar. Today is Wednesday, June 21st. My name is Jared Krebs, pictured here with my wife Crystal. We're Emerald Directors, co-founders of Team DSI. I want to acknowledge you for being elite team members of Team DSI. You are on this webinar because you are working your plan. You are planning your work on Sundays. You're posting your weekly action plan. You're working your plan. You know your volumes. You have a clear route and plan in your business every week. You're creating the right teamwork, the right culture, everything that it takes to be a successful full-time USANA associate. That's what you are doing. And since you are doing that, we want to give you extra training, extra support, and that's what this Wednesday call is all about. And before we get into our special guest training, I want to just remind you that amateurs sell products, professionals sell the vision. And I want to applaud you for selling the USANA vision, the complete package of what USANA offers people, not just being a product salesman. I know that is a mistake that many people make when they first start their business. They think they have to sell the products only, and they're not selling the vision of everything USANA has to offer. And that is the best way to help the most people and create the most successful business. So I want to applaud you for selling the USANA vision. And we have a very special guest today. Her name is Raylyn Rushton. She's been with USANA for over 14 years. She started out in corporate America and did many things in corporate America, but she was able to replace her income thanks to her USANA business. And now she lives a wonderful life out in Salt Lake City, Utah. And she is actually been a good friend of mine for many years, and I have never heard her story. So Raylyn, thank you so much for being on this call. Thank you so much for being a great example to the USANA family. Although we're not in your particular downline specifically, you still have taken time to sow into our team, and we are very grateful. We have a lot of people on the line who really want to hear your story and learn from your experience in USANA. So please take it away. The floor is yours. Welcome to the call.
Oh my goodness, Jared, thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be able to share with everyone today a little bit about how I got to where I'm at and hopefully give you a few takeaways along the way. So as Jared said, I've been with the company for over 14 years, and it's been an incredible journey. And it's a journey that's had its ups and downs by all means. And so I want to just be really authentic and real with you guys and share my story and some of those ups and downs. So it all started back when I was working for my corporate America job. I was traveling in 5 different states and taking care of community relations. And I was a single mom at the time of 2 boys, and I had someone else raising them. I was divorced when they were pretty young, and I was working 60 to 80 hours a week. And so basically someone else was raising my children while I was working. And I always knew there was something else. As a young girl growing up on a farm, I loved animals. A child of divorce, I wanted to create this amazing ranch where kids could come and just be kids. And so that was just like my younger day dreams, right? And which is still one of my passions, of helping children and having that ranch. And I realized as I'm working so many hours and I'm doing this to my children, I have someone else raising them. Wait a minute, I'm doing exactly the opposite of what I want to teach in life. And how am I ever going to accomplish those dreams if I don't find another way? But my dad always told me as a young girl that I had to work really hard. As a woman, you're going to have to work extra hard and to prove yourself. And, you graduate from school, you get married, or you get a good job, and you just stick with it. You just work, and work really hard. And so that's really where my mindset was. I just thought, okay, I have to work really hard. And I always worked myself up to like management positions, which were salary. And for those of you that are familiar with salary, you know that you end up making less than what most of the people starting out with the company make, which is minimum wage, because they own you, right? You're on call 24/7. And again, that's where the 60 to 80 hours came in. And so I knew there was a better way. I just really didn't know how to go about it. So in my thoughts and prayers daily, I was asking to be shown that better way, right? So out of sight, out of mind, fast forward, I was looking for a puppy in a newspaper. Kind of bizarre. I don't really read the newspaper a lot, but I was looking for a puppy, and I opened the newspaper, and this ad jumped out at me that I seriously hysterically was laughing at it, because it was like something like, do you want to be a millionaire? Be mentored by, a six income figure earner. And I mean, it was hilarious, you guys. I was reading it and I was like, okay, whatever, and went about looking at my puppy, or looking for my puppy. Well, a couple of weeks later, I got another newspaper to look for my puppy, and again, this ad pops out at me. And so I read it, and I thought, you know what? I just want to call just to find out what the heck it is, right? I mean, my curiosity was piqued. And I thought, there's no coincidence. I'm one that listens to signs, and I really pay attention to what the universe is giving me, especially if I'm asking for guidance. And so it wasn't, to show up 2 times, I thought, okay, I'm going to call. So I called, and this gentleman named Brian Douglas answered the phone. And, he told me a little bit about what it was about, told me that he'd like to get with me, and he would tell me more about it. And so I set up several meetings with him that I canceled and kept canceling. And obviously it wasn't a priority for me. And he called me and he said, look, if it's not for you, that's okay. But I really feel like, after getting to know you a little bit, that this is something that will really help you fulfill your dreams. And so I met with him. I met with him down at USANA headquarters. My background is also in nutrition. I had 30 plus years of nutrition background. And so he took me on a tour of USANA, and I was blown away, because I had the privilege in past company that I worked for of touring different nutrition facilities and doing training on them. And so I was blown away with how everything was done at USANA. And then we sit down and he interviews me. He interviews me and asks me where I saw myself in 5 years from now, and if what I was doing right then was going to help me accomplish that goal. And he did it in such a way that it opened up my heart and really had me really look that USANA was a vehicle for me. And so being a single mom, I didn't have the money to sign up for the Pro Pack at the time. It took me about a week to get a loan from my 401k, but I did it. And I was still working my corporate job. So I didn't really invest a lot of time the first year. I had preferred customers. I kind of dabbled in the training. I went to every event, which kept me motivated. But I didn't apply myself, you guys, because I had this other distraction. And I remember Brian telling me when I was signing my application, he said something that stuck with me to this day. And he said, you need to be really clear that USANA is your vehicle for life. You need to burn your bridges, that there's no going back. There's no other option, and that you need to make this work, because this is what's going to make my dreams a reality. And through all the hard times, I remember that. I remember him saying that, okay, there's no other option. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this work. Well, some things happened. So I continued being we call it a glorified preferred customer, right? And I ended up doing that for about a year. And then my son was in a motorcycle accident. I needed to care for him. For about 3 months, he needed 24/7 care. And my company had said that it was okay for me to work from home. And So I got all settled working from home, and a week later I got a phone call that said that they were doing away with my position. I no longer had a job, was not to represent that company in any way, shape, or form. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was so bizarre that it was almost comical, right? And so I called Brian and I said, look, this really just happened and I need your help. And so him and Brian Jensen stepped up and really engaged back in training me, and as though I was new, and really helped to guide me in the right direction so that I could work from home, work on building my business while I was caring for my son. And that's really when I consider my USANA journey beginning, because that's when I was actually starting to work it. From there, I really was gung-ho about it. My son got better, and I really started going and rank advancing, and then I had went to California to work with some of my team, and went gold during that time. And it was kind of a funny story because I wasn't planning on going gold. I was planning on helping someone else go silver, and that's why I went down there to work with her. And then I get a phone call from Jennifer Douglas that said, hey, congratulations, you're on your second week of your gold run. And I was thinking, how am I going to do this? And you know what, you guys, it wasn't me doing it. We put a call out to the team. Jennifer watched my numbers, and together, and I want to emphasize that, together, we rank advanced. And that was such another huge pivotal turning point in my life, knowing that I didn't have to do this alone. And so from there, things kind of started going like up and down. Once I went gold, I did what a lot of people do, and I'm going to encourage you and really stress, don't do this. I got that time freedom and financial freedom, and I wasn't used to that. I was used to someone else telling me when to work and what to do. And so I wasn't really used to that. And so I was taking time off. I was playing. I was there for my family. I was the go-to person. Everybody was asking me to do this, that, care for this person, and all of that. And I got I got sidetracked. And so I was doing all of this other stuff for everyone else and not really taking care of my health or my financial well-being. And so that just causes some like ups and downs in your life, right? And so then I'd start working it again, and then something would happen in my family, an illness or a death, and I was the person that had the time freedom to go and take care of it. And don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful that I've had the time to be able to be with my aunt when she was passing away, with my mom when she was in the hospital, with my dad. But man, it was great to have that financial income coming in. But if you're not working it and you're not dedicated and scheduled, and that's a priority, we say, I'm sure, Jared, you talk about treating your business like a business, like you're the CEO of your company and you have to go to work and you have to get this done. Because if you put the work in now, you will have that time freedom down the road that you'll be able to do all of those things, and you won't have the stress of finances or worrying about having to work so hard. It does pay off. So through some ups and downs in my life and really doing a lot of personal growth and workshops, I did Landmark, and I did a few other workshops, which really taught me a lot about myself and how important, integrity and scheduling and so many things about life that just helped really propel me further. Now I'm here, and I've had some things just recently that have shifted in my life where I've been able to care for my mom for the last 2.5 years, and start building my online presence. And I just spent 2 weeks at Sonaviv with Dr. Wentz, which was amazing. He was there for 2 weeks. And this man is phenomenal. He shared some of his vision with me about the energy medicine and about the USANA products and how excited he is for the announcements coming up at convention. And it just reminded me of how passionate I am about this company and about the man that started this company and his vision and why I started this company, or why I joined with this company. And so through all those ups and downs, you guys, the one thing I did, and I know Jared and Viola and Randy can attest that I'm at every event as much as I possibly can, with the exception of the last 2.5 years. I've kind of been in and out for a little while, but I went to every single event. I haven't missed a convention because that's what's kept me motivated. That's what's kept me really knowing that USANA was that vehicle for life, right? And that was my intention in the very beginning. And I've stuck to it through all the ups and downs. And one thing at Sonaviv that I love, I got really rebellious, okay? I didn't want to have a schedule anymore. I wanted to have that time freedom. I didn't want anybody telling me what to do. And what I figured out just the last 3 weeks at Sonaviv that was really incredible was really scheduling equals time freedom. If you schedule and you make a plan, and I know that you guys do the WAP, that's priceless, because that in itself is going to give you that time freedom to do what you need to do and to have that time for yourself, to love and nurture yourself and take care of yourself. And so that's priceless. And so I applaud all of you on this call, because I understand that all of you are actually doing that, and that you couldn't be doing anything more important right now than doing that. I want to share a few little takeaways really quick, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. So setting my intention when I started was pivotal. So I would encourage you to set your intention. You make USANA your vehicle, burn those bridges, and don't look back. Just know that this is your vehicle for life. You're going to share Dr. Wentz's vision. We are an extension of him, and we get to change lives. And then the scheduling and time freedom, sounds like you guys have already got that down pat, doing your WAP, and just, take the time every evening to make that schedule out for the next day, and make sure you're making yourself a priority. Because one thing that I've learned over the last several years in my journey with USANA, if you are not taking care of yourself, your health, and your financial well-being, you're not going to be in a position to be there for others when you're needed. And so make sure that you yourself are a number one priority. And then own your story. We all have transformational stories. Your story is what heals, and it draws people to you. Sharing my story at convention, I had migraines, and I'm not going to go into that. I had chronic migraines from 4th grade. When I started USANA products, the only thing I changed differently was taking the USANA products. I've had 6 migraines in the last 14 years, and I used to have 2 to 3 a week. And so when I shared my story at USANA, or at Sonaviv, excuse me, I now have new associates, new preferred customers. My business is exploding. So share your story, own it. It's who you are, and that's what people are drawn to. I'm open for any questions.
Awesome, Raylyn. Thank you so much for this great story that you've shared with us. My main highlight from so far of everything you've asked is scheduling your time equals time freedom. That's right. It's so counterintuitive, but it's so true. And doing that on a consistent basis in the beginning is what's put you in the place where you're at today. So thank you for sharing that. That's like super exciting. And congratulations on your health and what this has done for your migraines. I know that I have a client that's dealing with that right now. I'm like, well, I want to do a three-way call with you and her now.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Raylin. And my question, and I know people have questions, but I just want to ask my question real fast. What was the hardest moment in your USANA journey in your business, and how did you overcome it?
My hardest time, huh? There was a time where I had some issues with my health. I was diagnosed with some skin cancer, and luckily it was the least aggressive form of skin cancer. And I had been in USANA for probably about 6 years, and I really, it hit me hard, and I was thinking, wait a minute, I've been on these products, and I shouldn't have this. What's going on? And I didn't want to share it with any of my team because I was always taught, to just keep the negative or the not so good stuff to your upline and don't share it with your downline. And so I kind of withdrew. I went into myself. I wasn't working like I did. I kind of disappeared really from my team. And I had people starting to reach out, and I ran into Dr. Tim Wood one day at USANA, and I asked him if I could just talk to him. And so he answered some of my questions. He said, we all have cancer cells, and starting at the age of 5 is probably when this all started. So it wasn't like just all of a sudden. And if anything, the USANA products have helped it so it didn't progress. That was a huge shift for me. So I did a call with my team, and I shared what was going on with them. And I found out that there was 2 other people that were going through the same thing but didn't want to share because, right, if you share that you've had this going on, then people, what are they going to think? And all these things go through your head. But when I opened up to my team and shared with them and was really real and authentic with them, so much love came out of it and so much growth. And, again, it's part of my story, right? It's who I am. And to overcome that, it was really difficult. But once I opened up and shared, it allowed other people to open up and share, and then really propelled us forward again. So that was probably the toughest time.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question from Top Silver Director Renee Martinez.
Hi, Renee.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
How you doing? First of all, I want to thank you very much for sharing your amazing story. And my question is pretty simple. It's whenever you sign up new associates, what's the first book that you recommend for them?
The first book, that's a tough one because I have a few. I would say that as far as to educate them on network marketing, it would be Eric Worre's Network Marketing or GoPro. And then Invisible Miracles is a really great one to educate you about Dr. Wentz's vision and the products. So those 2 go hand in hand, I think, because if you're knowledgeable with both of those, then when you're sharing your story, you're sharing from a really passionate place, and you have both that knowledge and background with it.
Awesome. Thank you. And my last question is, what was the last book that you read, or what are you studying right now?
What I'm studying right now, I have a few of them. There's one that's called, it's more of a, some people might call it woo-woo, but Feelings Buried Alive. It helps with like different emotional things that are going on with your body and just an awareness. And then as far as, I'm sure you're all familiar with Dennis Waitley's Safari to the Soul is the other book that I'm reading.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Renee.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Claudia Zacharias says, love your story. Phyllis
Thank
Walker
you.
says, thanks, Raylyn. I can relate to what you just shared. I withdrew too. Randy and Viola Krebs say, scheduling creates time freedom. Love it. All right, team, we have time for one more question. Who's it going to be? You have a Top Goal director on the phone. You have a chance to ask her a question. Who's going to take the last one?
I will. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Raylyn.
I was going to say on time scheduling and equals time freedom, there's a saying that goes, if you don't plan your day will plan you. And pretty soon a day will turn into a week into a month, and a month into a year. And then pretty soon you're looking back 10 years going, you know what, when I turned 40, I was going to make my health a priority. And now I'm 50. And time just gets away from us, guys, if you don't intentionally set that schedule. So make that a priority in your life. Own it.
So true. Raylyn, Viola and I, we've worked alongside of you at corporate for many, many years and have heard your story, but I still picked up a few different nuggets from your story. But I totally agree that the time, setting your schedule will give you the time freedom. Never have thought of it that way. So that was a big nugget for me. Even, and you're right, the WAP, doing our WAP weekly does keep us on that track, but I never had correlated it to time freedom that this company allows. So definitely thank you for that nugget.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I also want to tell the team that, we always, when we do a Sansei event at corporate, Raylyn is the person that is up there running the event. She has a lot of experience and great knowledge with the skincare products as well, so which we appreciate from doing it corporate for not only for all of Crossline and everyone.
Yep, and Raylyn, I just wanted to add a comment. I'll never forget the time we stayed together at Sweet Retreat in the hotel and had a ball. It was you and me and Marge, yeah. And it was like none of us were on the same team. It was just the three of us early on. But I think that was the time I laughed the hardest. Like, seriously, everything was so, I don't know. It was just a really good time. So I just wanted to say that I still remember that very clearly.
Thank you. Yeah. It was hilarious. It was a great time to really get to know one another. And that's, when I was talking about working with team, you guys, we're all one big team. I mean, obviously you have your team, but then our USANA family, we're all team. We're all sharing the same vision. And so connect with other people. And as far as Sansei, if you guys have questions with Sansei, that's what I did at Sonovi, was I did Sansei trainings there, and we did Sansei and Sansei experience for the patients. It was just priceless. So if you have questions on Sansei, Jared, migraines, I'm happy to answer questions. Jared can give you my contact information, because we're all in this together. So I'm happy to help.
And then one final question, with the International Convention coming up, you have most likely been to a lot of them. Which was your favorite and why?
Wow, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, I would have to say every single one of them is powerful and build on one another. And if you guys aren't going to convention, I got it from the man himself, some of the things that are coming up. And he said to my face, if you are not going and you do not have your team there, you need to change your plans and you need to be there, because the products that are going to be released are going to knock your socks off. If you thought Cellsentials were powerful, and at the 20th anniversary, they gave iPads to every single person in attendance. This is 25 years, you guys. It's going to be amazing. My first convention is probably the most memorable, because I remember watching someone speak up on stage that I resonated with, and I used her story for the longest time until I had my own. But I saw her speak and I said, you know what? The next time I'm going to be up on that stage. I'm going to be sharing my story. And the next year I was at STI on stage sharing my story.
Nice.
And so events are powerful.
All right. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, well, this concludes the webinar. Raylin, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story. I love what you just said about convention. It is the most important event of the year. My first convention, too, is my most special. And I cannot wait to see you there. And everyone, please send Raylin a friend request on Facebook so you can be her friend on Facebook and obviously contact her there. I can also certainly get you her contact info if you need some support on a three-way call, because Raylin is a true team player. Raylin, thank you again for being on the call. Thank you for sharing with us your story and your journey and your wisdom. We appreciate, we love you, and we hope you have an awesome day.
Thank you. You as well. My pleasure, you guys. Much love to all of you.
Awesome. Thank you again. And let's unmute the lines and everyone say have a great day and God bless.
Have a
Good
great
day.
day
God
and
bless.
God bless.
Great day, everyone. God bless.